Shall we? Shall we? I was just thinking we should swap up. See more of you.
More of me.
So far it's only the left at the beautiful flower and the white lamp.
No, you can actually see the place here and here.
I hope they can't see me. I hope they can't see me. Otherwise, I won't look invisible.
Okay, we'll just do it from there, and when it turns off, we just put it somewhere else. Okay, let's start.
Let's start.
So, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, does the name ring a bell at all?
He's a famous English poet.
What's he famous for?
He's famous for being a poet.
Okay. What kind of a poet do you know?
Oh, by Coleridge.
Ah, Coleridge.
Coleridge. Well, what's the Samuel Taylor Coleridge?
Yeah, so he was a romantic poet. So there was a whole nice company of these poets. Coleridge was one of them. You have Warsaw, you have Coleridge, other guys. He is the most famous for two poems, which are, one of them is very long and one is really short. And the long poem is The Run of the Ancient Mariner. It's really, really famous. Oh, it's so famous, so long. It's about the sailor. And another one is Kubla Khan. And he's famous for it because he saw it in a dream, the whole poem. And he woke up, he started writing it down. And then he had some stupid friend of his or postman coming to him and disturbing him. He's like, oh, hello, let's talk. And he let him in, and they were talking, and he forgot all about the rest of the poem. He couldn't remember it. So some people say it was a good idea. So you start writing, you have it. Then if you continue writing, maybe you don't really get it. Well, anyway, but he's got more than these two poems, obviously. I should turn on the recording too. Okay. Coleridge got more than these two poems, more than the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner and Kubla Khan. But nobody looks at it much because they're not famous. And here is a lonely little poem here, To a Young Ass. Its mother being tethered near it. What do you think about the name of the poem? To a young ass.
Yes.
Its mother being tethered near it.
Yeah. Well, of course, two things. First thing is, of course, that this word came to mean something else in English today. Yes, it's just an animal. It's just an animal, yeah, a donkey. But the interesting thing about it is that there are certain, you know, the word ass means, or the animal means, has certain connections with the New Testament.
Yeah, it does.
And
so we have the image of an ass has different.
So it says, so basically, if you say about someone that he or she is, well, he is an ass, it means he is a very stupid person or something.
Or stupid or stubborn.
Or stubborn, okay, yes.
But it's not positive.
But it's not positive. But the image of the same animal, as far as this biblical connection is, is much more, is much more, you know. And I know of a poem written by Chesterton who describes that animal, who's looked upon, laughed upon, but there's much more about it, he says, than just this little stupid stubborn thing. So this is something that provokes.
Now we have not just To a Young Ass, but To a Young Ass, its mother being tethered near it.
Yeah.
So suddenly we have the ass and its mother donkey. Imagine. So is it a kind of name we expect from a romantic, famous poet.
No.
So what do we expect to read here? What are our expectations?
Well, normally as we open something romantic, we open...
If we have a poem called To a Young Ass.
Yeah, so probably we're going to hear something about this animal, and again, something about a young ass is probably not something interesting to read. It's certainly not romantic, certainly not something that many people would start reading if they just see the heading and nothing else.
Why not? Because we're not interested in asses.
Because probably, at least to someone who was born in the 19th century, asses are not considered to be poetic. They are just working animals or stubborn animals. There's nothing...
It's like writing about a pig or writing about a dog.
So it's good for a fable. So you can have asses and pigs in fables, but not in serious poetry.
Yeah, so it's not for serious poetry. And now this really famous, really cool poet writes a poem, so let's read it after all. Poor little fool of an oppressed race, I love the languid patience of thy face, and all through gentle hand I give thee bread, and clap thy rugged coat, and pat thy head. But what thy dull spirits have dismayed, will never thou dost sport along the glade. And, what unlike the nature of things young, that earthward still thy moveless head is hung. Do thy prophetic fears anticipate, meek child of misery, thy future fate? The starving meal and all the thousand aches, which patient merit of the unworthy takes. Or is thy sad heart free of the filial pain to see thy wretched mother's shortened chain? And truly, very piteous is her lot, chained to a lord within a narrow spot, where the closet and blouses scarcely seem, while sweet around her waves the tempting green. Poor us, thy master should have learned to show pity, best taught by fellowship of woe. For much I fear me that he lives like thee, how famished in a land of luxury. How askingly its footsteps hither bend, it seems to say, and have I then one friend? Innocent foe, thou poor despiseful lord, I hail thee brother, spite of the false scorn, and fain would take thee with me in the dell of peace, and mild equality to dwell, where toil shall call the charmer health his bride, and laughter tickle plenty's rivulet side. How thou wouldst toss thy heels and gain some play, and frisk about as lovers kitten gay. Yea, and more musically sweet to me thy distant harsh bray of joy would be, the warbled melodies that soothe to rest the aching of pale fashion's backing breast. That's cool. So what do you think about it? What's the first impression?
Well, the first impression is that the poet somehow takes liking to that little young ass and somehow compares himself, the famous poet, or at least the person who is saying all these words to us. He's comparing, the narrator is comparing himself to this.
Yeah, so do we often do it? Do we often look at something small, dirty, miserable, say, ah, that's me? Maybe not often.
Well, not very often.
We know another poet who did the same thing, and it's this guy, Burns. He has this very, very famous poem about mice. A mouse, to a mouse. So that's to a gnat, he has to a mouse. He's like, oh, I ruined your house, little mouse. Oops, sorry, that happens. That happens. Did I do something? That happens. then he says, I'm like a mouse, and all people are like mice. We make our plans, and there comes the farmer and ruins your life. And here we have a similar thing. He looks at an ass and says, oh, you're my brother. Oh dear me. So poor little foal of an oppressed race. How do you like this first line? Do you often, you look at an ass, a donkey, and you say, oh, poor little foal of an oppressed race. Is it normal?
Not really.
So what happens here?
An animal, and again, an animal which usually commands no respect, is compared to a representative of an oppressed race, raising the whole thing up to sort of much more higher level.
So we have the beginning is the name of the poem. It's a sort of neutral, because we don't know what to expect. Not really. Maybe it's a funny poem. Maybe it's a serious poem. And now immediately we see, it's a serious poem. Oppressed race. It's like, oh, slavery, misery. And the farmer's like, what are you talking about? It's just a donkey. And for a little foal. Like, oh, you're like a baby, really. Like a teenager. Of an oppressed race. I love the languid patience of their face. So, and now we have
the narrator telling us about something he loves or admires about the ass, or this ass as a representative of an oppressed race. Something that he admires is patience.
Languid patience of their face. So it's not just oppressed race, like human being, also has a face. Immediately we see the face, and of course he uses all this thy and thee and thou, which makes it even more poetic and more serious. So immediately we have his feelings towards the animal I love. He doesn't beat about the bush, he just goes for it. He just says it right in the second line. Right in the first line he says, poor little foal.
So
I love.
Now we know what attracted the poet's attention. It was something that at least makes the poet, the narrator, pity the ass, and also makes him compare the ass with a human being. As you say, he uses the word face. Humans have faces, asses don't usually have faces unless we are very poetic about asses, and we don't usually talk about animals as being patient or impatient, especially about this.
Oh, we do really.
Well, about this work animal, because they are there to do the job, and here is the poet who does not consider the animal just
a part of the landscape.
Who sees so much more in the animal than just this.
So really, even here we see the message. Even if we don't read the rest of the poem, we already have this message. Don't look at beings as a part of a landscape. Don't look at landscape as a part of a landscape.
And it's something interesting, something that we must have mentioned before. Very often, as we talk about our business, we don't really notice the landscape as the human beings or these humble animals. Unlike Samuel Taylor Coleridge, who even notices this.
Another thing he does here, when he says these words, oppressed race, patience of thy face, is immediately he has little hooks to catch the reader. Because what do we really love to think? Privately or publicly say, oh, I'm so miserable. I'm so unhappy, nobody loves me. Yeah, so he plays with it too, because everybody has this feeling inside, oh, I'm so lonely, nobody understands me. And he is like, oh, I can see you. Yeah, my dear person, my dear reader. Oh, that's you. Hello. Yeah, you're not just a stupid ass. I know everybody tells you you're a stupid ass. I know you're more than that. I can see you. So immediately we are caught.
Is it also if you're very, very well-educated person? Is it something that you associate with romantic?
Oppressive race, religion, and things like that, maybe.
Or is it something also that you associate with romantic poetry? Because as a romantic poet, you're probably supposed to be speaking to a person who feels lonely and maybe oppressed, and maybe something oppressed in all sorts of ways. So, I don't know. I'm not well educated.
No, we will just read it. We just read it and see what it tells us.
Okay.
Off with gentle hand I give thee bread, and clap thy ragged coat, and pat thy head.
Which again means that there's a friendly relationship.
So
or a friendly attitude.
The words we have: languid, patient, gentle. It's all very soft, it's all very lovely.
Yeah.
But then we have a relationship. I give thee bread, I pat you, I clap thy coat. It means technically I'm your master. I give you food, I can clap you, pat thy head, clap thy coat. But then he says, really, it's only an illusion. Then again, I have a hand which gives bread, and the animal has face and coat and head. Yeah. And another thing he does here, he brings I and you or thee, thou, in one line. Again. I love thy face. I give thee bread. So
do you think that he's making this opposition on purpose? Somehow emphasizing.
It's not like describing the animal separately and his feelings separately. He shows that he doesn't just stand and look at the animal and say, oh, you're a nice poor animal, but I'm not going to touch you because you're dirty and smelly. No, he says, I touch you, I put my head on you. I know your coat is rugged, but I'm not afraid of dirt, I'm not afraid of smell. I know I'm just as rugged as you are. Yeah? We come from this abstract view, all oppressed race, we don't see anything specific. Then we come closer, I like thy face, we look at it.
Okay.
Then I give thee bread, that's closer. And then I pat you, I touch you, that's touch. It's closer. But all of these gestures are like the gestures of a master. Or at least of
someone who is superior to this animal.
Because who can pat your head, for instance?
My head?
Yeah, your head. Without being oppressive.
Well, probably, I don't know, my parents could.
Yeah, like your parents could. Maybe your lover, your wife, your daughter, your children.
Yeah, someone
Close to you.
Yeah.
So not necessarily superior. But here I give the bread to show that he's superior. He gives him food. And we can see that this foal, this ass, is not very happy. Its coat is ragged, it's old. But what thy dulled spirits have dismayed, that never thou dost sport along the glade? So not only he can see, oh, it's a real living being, not just a part of the landscape, but also, you have feelings, you have spirits.
Yeah, something else. So you have your own soul,
Okay, let's continue. So that's a very good practice because you're supposed to be here. At the same time, you're aware of everything happening around you. So apart from thinking about all that, listening to the gnomic talking about it, you're also listening to that guy beeping very quietly.
Or sometimes not living at all, just switching off.
Okay. Who thou spirits. So not only he says, yes, this ass has spirits, but also they are dulled.
Yeah, so he's meaning he thinks he is not capable of understanding what the ass is feeling. Yeah, so the animals have feelings, and probably because you are specially gifted as a poet, you are capable of understanding what these animals might be feeling.
But never thou dost sport along the glade. So he's talking to the donkey, and obviously at the same time he's talking to the reader. Yeah. Oh, I know you're unhappy. Well, what's the matter with you? And never thou dost sport along the glade. So you just stand there. You don't run around. You don't play. What's the problem? Because it's another donkey that's tied, not you. You could be moving. You're not. And most unlike the nature of things, young with earthers, still their moveless head is hung.
Yeah. So typically for someone who's young, something that is typical for a young animal, something that is certainly typical for a young human being, a small human being, you are usually very happy, you're very curious about the world around you. And that means you are moving around, you are trying to see these new things you are interested in. That's not true about our ass.
Yeah, and at the same time, the poet, the narrator, can see their ass, not just some abstract donkey, but that's a specific ass, and he can see this donkey is young, and he said, but it's very strange because it's not an old donkey, it's a young donkey. Why is it just standing? Yeah. So again, we see the person, we see the ass. That earthward, still they moveless, head is hung. That's really beautiful because you just put these words one on another. Earthward, moveless, hung. We have earth, we have moveless. Very interesting. So we have glade, which gives us a bit of space. But now we just look down. When we say earthward, we just look down. And we have words still and moveless. Again, repeating each other. How still can be like a moveless. And of course, head is hung is a nice poetic term in sounds. So earthward and hung and still and moveless is the same words. Two sets of two words meaning the same things in one line. So he's not afraid of it, because if you ask some critics, they say, no, never do it. If you want to say moveless, say moveless. If you want to say still, say still. If you want to say hung, say hung. If you want to say earthward, say earthward. Don't use two words which mean the same thing in one phrase. He says, well, that's very nice, but I'm a poet. I don't really care. Do thy prophetic fears anticipate, meek child of misery, thy future fate?
So now he's raised to an even higher plane.
Now he's a prophet.
Now he's a prophet. Or at least he's someone. Well, he's someone who's able to predict the future. But of course, it's not just the something, future plans or something, because again he uses the word prophetic on purpose. It probably means that we're not just talking about these simple things that someone might anticipate. And again, the word anticipate very often, I think, means something that you might be a bit anxious, a bit nervous about. So the animal has these feelings, and he has sense of future, and this is something prophetic.
He knows. He doesn't just feel it or know it, but he reacts to it.
And he reacts to it. And one more time, an animal is compared to a human being in next line.
Yeah, now it's really open.
Now it's really
a child. So first we have poor little foal. So foal is like, you know, horse baby or an ass baby, baby ass. Now it's child of misery. Meek child of misery. It's really poetic if you think about it. Meek child of misery.
And again, meek also means that you are responding to the world around you in a certain way. So it probably presupposes certain conscious choice. You can be meek, or you can be strong, and you can sort of fight and stand in a position. Here he's meek.
Again, if we come to the beginning, we see languid patience and now meek child of misery.
Yeah.
So we have these two ideas connected.
Yeah. Is it something that he appreciates in people?
Maybe.
Patience.
Because
meekness usually has sort of negative connotations, but patience is usually not necessarily.
Not necessarily, because again, as we remembered about some biblical symbols, and meek is very high.
Absolutely. So it's not something that some people appreciate today, because today you're supposed, if you're oppressed, you're supposed to fight, you're supposed to stand for your rights. So this ass is not someone who's ever willing to sacrifice. And he knows, one more thing, he knows that his fate is going to be even worse. His prophetic fears anticipate something bad that's going to happen to him.
Again, we have, if we think about sounds, what sort of sounds we have here? It's all th and f and the. They're always sounds.
Yeah.
They're not really happy sounds.
And if you're a critic, you can also say that fate is something that's going to happen to you in the future. So future fate, again, is unnecessary.
But if you think about it as a poison, future fate, thy future fate, it's something, if you really read it, this expression, then all your listeners would be just covered, you know, the things that come from your mouth. It's all it doesn't sound melodical. It's not the sound which is poetical in the sense of, oh, warbling melodies, but it's a very expressive sound. And then again, you say, animal, donkey has a fate, when people usually like to think that, no, only humans have a destiny and fate. It's something really serious and profound. No, a donkey can't have a spirit, can't have faith. Oh no. Like future faith. The starving meal and all the 1,000 aches which patient merit all the unworthy takes.
Yeah.
It's his future fate.
It's his future.
Also, it's very good for your sense of time. Yeah.
Do you think that the development can it also phone you? If it decides to stop you?
Maybe it can. Okay, keep talking, keep talking. It's not a very happy thing. It just turns off. And the battery is flat, although it's fully charged. Crazy things.
Okay.
So we have all these questions.
All these questions. So it's not just not something which is about the opposition. Just you, the donkey, the ass, and me, the poet. It's a constant dialogue. He's engaged in dialogue because the questions are.
I wonder. No. Anyway, yeah.
The questions, yeah, it's a dialogue, because, and it's interesting because. It's interesting because it's interesting. You can see the dialogue happening between the two of them, the ass and the poet.
Yeah,
You can also see the dialogue happening.
Ask and we ask to stand there. Oh, maybe could you go away, please? Let me just stand here in peace.
But isn't it also true that this dialogue is developing between the poet and his audience?
Yeah. So we don't have the answers here.
We don't have the answers.
So technically, the donkey can't answer. A real donkey can't answer in a poem.
And is it also?
So we take its place.
We take it, and probably it's much more important for the poet, at least in this first part of the poem we've just covered. Maybe it's much more important to him to be able to ask all these questions, to make us think and feel something we haven't thought about before.
There are many things that we have here. One thing is that we don't notice this like the ragged ones, the low ones. That was a problem, like not seeing them as people, not seeing low class as people. That was a big problem. Another thing here is, the question itself, is it me? Is it me? Not someone there, me. And then we have a beautiful line. Is thy sad heart thrilled with filial pain to see thy wretched mother's shortened chain? So the word I really love here is filial, because we have filial like son or daughter, filial and filia. And we have filly like a horse, like pony, filly. So filial is both, like he's an ass, like a donkey, a horse, a filly, and it's like Philip, the name Philip. And we have like child's love. So it's a really very beautiful play of words here, filial. Which one is it? It's both.
Yeah. And as we have already established connections with the Bible, the New Testament, because this is also something that they use in the New Testament. At least if you
we'll talk about it when we read the rest of this stanza. Yeah, well then filial is a bit of a Latin point of view.
Latin, yeah. So it's something that is typical of the place.
So you don't usually use Latin when you talk about donkeys. No. So now we have, is thy sad heart thrilled? So again, we see, the first time we see it, it's just a donkey. Now we see, no, it's a person with spirit, the feeling, the heart, your sad heart is thrilled. The feeling pain, so all those were sad and thrilled and pain, all this misery, misery, misery. To see thy wretched mother's shortened chain. So again, not just a donkey, to see another donkey, no, it's a mother. And it's not just mother, it's a wretched mother. Again, miserable. A shortened chain. And truly, very precious is her God. Chained to a log, within a narrow spot where the closet and grass is scarcely seen, while sweet around her waves the tempting green. So if we suppose that this as is related to Christianity, then what is its mother?
Well, I was going to say, and I might be very wrong.
Yeah, we are always wrong.
Yeah, someone is always right. That's my role. So I risk being very wrong again. But I was going to compare this situation as a mirror of something that is described in the New Testament. In the New Testament, and in many prayers based on the historic New Testament, the description is of Jesus Christ chained or sort of nailed to the cross, and his mother, Virgin Mary, standing near the cross, looking at him very sadly. This situation here is the reverse. His mother is chained, and he's very sad, and the son is very sad.
Maybe if the ass is Christianity, and we can say it because we have this
yeah, but also
ideas like ass connected to Christ and meekness, the things. Then the mother of Christianity would be Judaism, would be the Jews. In which case, from the Christian point of view, the Jews would never agree to it, because they think that Christianity is just some crazy people. But from the Christian point of view, this mother of Christianity, this mother of this ass, it sits there on a shortened chain, tied to an old log, and the grass is shortly eaten. There's nothing else left to eat. Yeah, in a spiritual way. That's what the Christians say. We have the New Testament, and you only have the Old Testament. Yeah.
And then
they don't want to leave it. They change to it, to their ideas.
Or is it also because they don't want, because it's only for those who are, so it's only for the chosen people, because you're not really supposed, I'm a Judaist, so you're not supposed to see it spreading around the world, because I might be wrong, I'm not just, but traditionally it's considered to be something that belongs only to the chosen people, while Christianity is something that needs to be properly spread
She is
to the world.
tied to this Old Testament.
Okay.
She doesn't want to leave it, she can't leave it. But all around you is tempting green. They say, look at yourself. You change yourself to the Old Testament. It's like this short eaten grass. There's nothing more left here. Come to us. We have all those fields of green for you. But no, your ideas tie you to this log, and you're like a log. You sleep like a log, like dead, and you're lifeless. You just torture yourself. And the Son, Christ, his heart is aching for you because you can't leave this old idea into the big picture. Well, then again, I repeat, the Jewish people will never agree to it. They say, no, you're crazy. We are the chosen ones, and every one of us is the Son of God, and you only have one Son of God who is Jesus Christ, and you say you're slaves. And we're not slaves, we're sons and daughters of God. So, but that obviously is written from a Christian point of view, so that's how we look at it. Truly, where teaches us a lot, chained to a log within a narrow spot, where the closet and grass is scarcely seen, while sweet around her waves the tempting green. Could be. Okay? So we have lots of exclamations and lots of questions in this poem, and so it's a very rhetorical poem.
But it's also because you want to engage the reader. You want the reader to think along.
Rhetoric.
Yeah. So it's not just
describing your feelings. It's talking to the audience.
And you're interested in those. You.
It is isn't. It's a very... let's have a look around. You never know when it's recording, when it's not. It might be recording like 5 minutes for all I know. Oh well.
Is it getting, I mean, the recording periods, are they getting shorter and
I have no
shorter
idea.
all the time?
I have no idea.
It used to
Really.
be 10 minutes.
I will know at home when I'll have a look at it. Okay. Poor us. So again, the same as we start this first stanza, we start the second one with talking to the us or to the reader. Poor little foal of the unoppressed race, now poor us. Thy master, should have learned to show pity. So here the situation changes a little bit. We have now thy master. We didn't have any master in the first.
Yeah, there was only as followed
And his mother.
Yeah, plus
so we get that somebody tied this mother donkey. We don't see this person, we're not interested. Now we look at this person, thy master. Should have learned to show, and then pity. So as we put pity to the next line, and then we have a pause after it. We have a pause before it, pause after it means it's really important to show it. It's very much stressed.
Yeah, and it appears in the first as the first word of line 2.
Yeah, it's in the beginning,
Yeah, so
and it's after the break. It's the end of the phrase, but it comes after the break, and we have another break after.
Yeah, immediately following.
It's a very strong place to put the word in there. Bestowed by fellowship of woe. Again, we are back to misery. For much I fear me that he lives like thee, half famished in a land of luxury. That's a bit enigmatic. Who is he?
Isn't it the master?
The master? Who is this master? Who is he with a capital H?
Well, he with a capital H
Right.
is usually in Christianity. And that's what we usually say. Our master, our Lord.
So here we have a very strange idea that God, and he doesn't say God, we can guess, lives like this poor donkey, how famished in a land of luxury. How can it be?
So, the first 2 lines, or at least the first line, in the beginning of the sentence, you're repeating, probably, if I'm just reading that, I'm thinking of this evil master who is ruthless enough to torture the ass, to torture his mother, and who leads a life of luxury, and he's very happy about that, and he has no second thoughts.
So anyway, if that's God,
but then in the next line, when the poet says, "Much I fear me that he lives like thee." In the line of luxury, but half famished.
it's like those 2 donkeys. They stand on a green glade, but they can't have any of that grass. Yeah? And now he says, thy master should have learned to show pity. So here we think about this Old Testament God who likes to punish people. And if we look at it from a side, then very often people say, God is so cruel. And he makes people suffer. While again, if you ask the Christians, they will give you another answer. They say, no, he's just very master, but he is strict but true. Yeah?
And if you ask Christians, of course, they will tell you that he suffered himself because God.
So now we have three characters here. We have the donkey, we have its mother, and we have the master. So if we think about it from a religious point of view, then we may say maybe the donkey is like a New Testament, and a mother donkey is the Torah, the Old Testament, and the master is God, who has both of them, obviously. So what happens here? How can he live like we have punished in the land of luxury? So the land of luxury, if I were to talk about God, then that's more or less clear. We have heavens, everybody's happy, we have everything we need there. How can he be punished in that land? What does he need? What does he want?
Is it because he wants people to be not cruel, not doing all these evil things they are accustomed to?
Yeah, maybe. So
and he's suffering because
he is suffering there, as long as we are doing our nasty things down here. So he is feeding, so to speak, upon our good deeds, and we don't do nothing. How asking these footsteps he the bandit seems to say, and have I then one friend? What is that about? Who is it? Who is one friend? I think it's a bit mysterious. What do you think? Maybe we'll understand this some other time. But as we read it, we can, even if we don't understand why he says it, we still feel this. We still can sense it. How asking these footsteps he the man. It seems to say, and have I then one friend? It's something that we may fail, we may do. I nobody loves me, the only friend, one friend I have. Innocent fool, thou poor, despised, forlorn. Yeah, so that's more emotion, more expression. Poor, despised, forlorn. Three adjectives. You're poor. Why? Poor because you're unhappy, poor because you don't have much?
Because of both.
Both, maybe. Despised.
Yeah, so nobody likes you, nobody loves you, nobody thinks much of you.
And forlorn.
And nobody wants you.
You're left behind.
You're left behind.
And forlorn is a very beautiful word. I really love it. It's very melodical. Forlorn.
And innocent at the same time.
Yeah. Innocent and despised and forlorn. So that's, I guess, the main image of Christianity. You're poor, you're despised, you're forlorn, but at the same time, you're not angry about it. You're not rebelling. You're meek, you're patient.
You're innocent.
Yeah, you're innocent. I hail thee, brother. That's really amazing. So here it is like, oh yeah, that's a donkey. Brother, solidarity. I hail thee, brother. So do you often come to a donkey, or to a pig maybe, and say, I hail thee, brother, I'm with you?
Not normally.
So how do we feel when we read this bit? What do you think about somebody who looks at the donkey and says, I hail thee, brother.
Well, if somebody...
Yeah, I think it just does 10 minutes and turns off without any warning. Oh, maybe we should have a little mirror just behind to see what's going on there, but that would be a bit too complicated, I'm afraid. On the ceiling, maybe. Alright. So, I hail thee, brother. So, how do you feel about it? Is he being stupid? Is he being funny? Is he being serious?
He's very serious, and he never makes fun of that poor little donkey. And I truly believe.
Anyway, I don't think anyone watches it to the end, so I guess nobody will notice if there are any gaps.
Nobody will notice.
So I don't think it's a big problem. But anyway.
I truly believe that he never makes fun of that little donkey. He does indeed have very friendly brotherly. And friendly is, of course, just a friend. Brotherly feeling is much more than just being friendly.
So to this moment, notice, to this moment it wasn't it. We didn't know if it was a girl donkey or a boy donkey. Now it's a brother. And if you say brother, it's not only your family, like, oh, that's my sister, that's my brother, but also it's more like maybe in religion, in some order. If you're a revolutionary, you have your brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that's what we say. That's why we say.
Spirit.
Yeah.
So I hail the brother. Spite of the full score.
Yeah. So everybody makes fun of you. Everybody despises you. Everybody thinks you're just a stupid little thing. But they are all fools. And I don't care.
Spite of the full score. So maybe, he says, maybe sometimes we feel something like that, but we are afraid to express it. Because somebody else say, you're stupid. Don't kiss the donkey. Yeah. I say, no, I do what I like. I do what I feel is right. Yeah. And again, it's another thing in Christianity. When you're not ashamed of being Christian. No matter what other people say, even if it's nice Romans who want to do some nasty things to you, just to say, no, I'm Christian, kill me, kill me. Because you're a fool. Oops. So again, I hail the brother, spite of the full score. We have lots and lots of this beautiful sounds. Spite, scorn, fool. Hail the brother, poor, despised, forlorn, foul.
In fact, you might have difficulty unless your English or language you have two S's, you fool's scorn, so to combine the ending S at the beginning of the word scorn.
So it's really great how the sounds of this poem carry the meaning and the expression. But when you just look at it and read it with your eyes, you may not really notice it. But as you start reading it, you can't miss it. Always.
That's why poetry is meant to be relevant.
Yes. And fain will take thee with me in the dell of peace and mild equality to dwell. So now we have another interesting idea. So it turns out this narrator comes from a blessed place, from the dell of peace and equality. And he said, yeah, I would love to take it with me. If I could, how I wish. Fain, again, fain. What takes me with me is the depth of peace and real quality to dwell. So, here we describe our future life, our dreams. Now the quality, where toil shall call the charmer health his bride, and laughter tickle plenty's ribless side. Oh, who lives in this place?
Is it something like paradise?
Yeah, it's something like paradise. And work and health become people, characters. Because we don't have any abstractions in paradise. It's all present. You have toil, you have health, you have laughter, you have plenty. And you don't just imagine them. You can see them, you can touch them. Toil shall call the charmer health his bride. So toil is a man and health is a woman. And they get married. And laughter tickle plenty's ribless side. How crazy. Plenty's ribless side. It sounds beautiful. What does it mean? Why is plenty's side ribless? I don't know. I don't know. If it's plenty, it should have lots of things, but it's ribless. Crazy.
This is because so if there are ribs and ribs and ribs, then you touch it, but if it's like this, no ribs.
Laughter tickles ribless side. So we have tickle the ribs. That's ribless. How can you tickle it? It's a strange line, but it sounds really nice. Ribless side. Plenty of ribless side.
Yes, and the idea also is that you toil and work, but
Now this work brings you health.
Yeah.
It doesn't ruin you like it often does in this reality. It brings you health, and you're happy, you're laughing, you have plenty of everything. It's peace, it's equality. Great, great. How thou wilt toss thy heels and gamesome play and frisk about as lamb or kitten gay. So he looks at this, thou donkey, thou unhappy donkey. He says, but I can see that really you're not like that. Really, you're like a kitten. You want to play. I know you want to play. Something prevents you from this. But why? Why? I know. It's really inside. We're all happy. And there's something outward that prevents us from being happy. But happiness is our natural position, natural state. Yeah? So if you come to a happy place and you just toss your heels in games and play and frisk about as lamb or kitten game. So we have this wild mixture of a donkey, which is very sad and doesn't want to move, yeah, very depressed, and a little kitten. And somehow we are supposed to combine these two ideas. And we have the image of this big, sullen donkey playing around like a kitten.
But how do you know that it's natural? How do you know that it's natural? Maybe it can only happen to you if you are in paradise. It can never happen to you when you are here.
Then isn't that's your natural state. Well, according to Christianity, okay, your natural state is that of paradise.
That's where it all
began.
began.
It's unnatural. Here, everything is unnatural. It's supposed to come back to the natural state. And now we have the lamb or kitten game. We like lambs, they're nice. We like kittens, they're sweet, they're lovely. We like videos of kittens and pictures of kittens. We don't like grey, sullen donkeys. We think it's not working again.
You said the word widows.
I think it would work for another 20 seconds. So you can say something in 20 seconds. In 10 seconds, sorry.
Hello, everybody. Is it a smart thing to say? Is it a very smart thing to say?
Alright. So the sad donkey turns into a happy kitten. That's what happens to you. Yay! And more musically sweet to me, like distant harsh bray of joy would be. The warbled melodies that soothe to rest, the aching of pale passions back in the breast. So we have musically, and the next line describes this music. Dissonant, harsh bray, but it's a dissonant, harsh bray of joy. And as it's the bray of joy, it's more musical, it's more beautiful than anything else. Even if it doesn't sound nice to our human ear here, then there, let's say he, or we when we are there we can see through. Same as he looks at this sad donkey and he can see through, can see the playing kitten in that donkey. Same. He can listen to this harsh, dissonant bray and hear that it's not important that it's harsh, it's not important that it sounds dissonant. The only important thing is that it's of joy. And nothing else matters. If it's joyful, then it's beautiful.
And it's much more beautiful than
marble melodies.
Yeah, that we are accustomed to hear.
The age of pale passions, vacant breaths. So we have these two sounds compared, and one sound is that we don't like to hear, harsh and dissonant, bray. Another sound is which is technically nice to our ears usually, warbling melodies. It's something beautiful, but not here, because here it's related to the aching of pale passions, vacant breast, empty breast. So we have a real life and a real donkey, which is unhappy here but would be happy there, expressing his joy. And we have this somehow appearing in the last line, affection, which isn't real, which is pale and sick and empty inside. And he says it's better to be this ass than to be empty inside.
Yeah.
It's better to be
but adhere to fashion, adhere to doing something everybody is doing.
So he says, maybe you look nice, maybe you have stylish nails or something, and maybe you can sing very well, very lovely, very nicely, but if you're empty inside, that is nothing. On the other hand, if somebody is dissonant but really happy, maybe it's more important. Yeah? What else is here? What else is here? So what about rhyming? Does it rhyme?
Yes, it does. It certainly does.
What kind of rhyming is it?
Good try.
And it's like couplets. Race face, bright head, mate, blade, young pump, anticipate, future fate, 8 stays, Spain, chain, lost, ball, sing green. So it's not a clever rhyming when you have A, then B, C, then A, then C, then B, or something else. You have A, B, B, C, C. So it makes it easier. It makes it easier to read. It makes it easier to attend. So if you're
there is nothing about something artificial, something that adheres to this pale, fashionable things.
Yeah. So if you're a cool poet, then you think it's somewhere below your dignity. Do not write couplets. Couplets are too simple. Couplets are for children. Because you don't need to keep all those complex structures in your head. You just write A, B, B, C, C, and then you can continue forever. Because if you're like Pushkin writing your clever structures and you have this number of lines in a stanza, then you finish and you do the next bit, then you finish. But if you do just couplets, you can go on as much as you like. How many lines do we have here in each stanza? 4, 8, 12, what is it? 14, 15, 16, 17, 19. What is 19? No, something's wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 lines. Yeah. So again, if you want to have 18 lines, you can't really do it if you do 4-line stanzas. What about the second one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, it's 18 too. So on one hand it looks like it just goes on forever. On another hand we have a fixed number of lines in each, 18 and 18. Well, 18 is a nice number. I don't know why it just is. So it looks a bit long maybe. Why do we make a break here? What changes? Why don't we just make one very long poem? Something changes here.
Something changes. Stanza 1 is about what the poet and the poet's readers see here. Stanza number 2 brings us up there and introduces the concept or something of the master, the Lord, and it brings
all
us
all the happy things
and all these philosophical things.
Well, we have philosophical
we have philosophy in stanza 1, yeah, but probably it's because it's in stanza 1 it's only something of a low grade, while in stanza 2 it's
also. We have all these questions in the first stanza and all the answers in the second stanza. If you compare, this one is all questions, questions, questions. Here we only have 2 little questions, and the rest is exclamation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.